Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is that you are while you are watching this. Welcome to another Marketing Monday. This is the weekly live stream that I do every week about a different marketing, branding, entrepreneurship topic. Basically, whatever I feel is relevant and will help y'all the most at the time that I schedule this. And it is Monday. It is April 19th. And today I've got a really interesting topic for you about authenticity stoppers or blockers. And so I'm really excited to get into that with y'all today. Oh, I've got Matt here. What up, Matt? Matt was super awesome. And he brought a bouncy house over, a moon bounce over for my daughter's birthday party this weekend. And the kids loved it. They asked if we could keep it. I told them no. But they had a great time, so it was fantastic. So if you are in like the Annapolis area-ish, Annapolis, Glen Burnie, Laurel type of areas, then you want to definitely hit up Matt for those birthday parties and celebrations with kids involved at all this weekend. He was fantastic about dropping it off and then picking it up, so it was a really good thing for us. So before we get into the topic today, I just wanted to let y'all know we've got new podcast episodes. Whoop! So last Thursday was our initial interview with Christina Baker. She works at Dream Core, which is they have a few different branches, but Christina works with the social justice section of Dream Core. And this week we are actually going to talk about doing digital marketing for activism. So that is the episode this week. You definitely want to go check that out for sure. And I got another good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here. And yes, so go check out new podcast episodes. And then this week was the lowdown on Clubhouse. And especially considering it was announced. So today's episode that came out today is the lowdown on Clubhouse. So if you didn't catch that live stream, I think it was like a month or two ago, you want to go ahead and listen to that episode because Clubhouse will be coming out for Android in the next few weeks, as well as the fact that the other apps are releasing their own Clubhouse versions. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, like Facebook is trying to do some stuff. Twitter's already released something. LinkedIn is exploring it. Like everybody's taking a look at it. So what you want to do is listen to that episode, but listen to it with a mind for just period, audio only, wherever it feels like you're going to show up, because these principles are true across platforms. And then finally, before we get into today's topic, I just want to remind y'all that May 10th is the start of the beta cohort, a small group cohort for the Build a Supernova brand program, and that's going to be a combination of one-to-one as well as small group consulting, probably meeting about twice a week, so depending on where we're at in the program. So just keep that in mind, and if you're interested in that, please send me a DM or drop a comment so that way I can DM you. There's only going to be a limited number of seats for that, so you definitely want to let me know as soon as you think it might be something you're interested in. All right, so today we are going to talk about what's stopping your authentic expression, what's keeping you from showing up. And specifically, I'm actually going to share 4 of the most common radical authenticity stoppers. These are the things that I see kind of turn up in some way or another in my work with clients, because as you might have found out from some of our more, from the live streams I've done in the past, emotional intelligence and authenticity are like this, right? They're like this, right? So in terms of radical authenticity, we're also looking at, okay, where are your strengths and weaknesses in terms of your emotional intelligence? And the beauty of emotional intelligence is that it can be learned. So even if you don't have what some might consider a natural affinity or a natural talent in terms of emotional intelligence and your intrapersonal and interpersonal skills, those things can be learned. And so that's why we work on identifying these authenticity stoppers, so that way we can kick them out and fix what's going on. So, like I said, I've got 4 for you today. And here is number 1, low self-appreciation. And you're like, wait. No, it's true. It's true. It's really hard to be authentic when you do not value yourself enough. It is, because you're already like, oh, I don't know if people, want to hear what it is I have to say. This is where our imposter syndrome typically pops up. And if you don't have anything to balance out those types of that negative self-talk, your low self-appreciation will keep you from showing up in a genuine and authentic way. And you might not even realize it if you are not aware that your self-appreciation is low. And so a lot of this is just having like a realistic level of self-assurance, understanding and accepting your strengths and weaknesses, also understanding your intrinsic value and accepting your intrinsic value as a human being, and the value that you bring to the people in your network. So when you have all of those things, then your self-appreciation is much higher. Also believing, right? Believing without a doubt that you have something unique and important to give to the world. Right? And if you don't have those things, then it's a low self-appreciation that could be getting in the way of your authenticity. Matt has dropped me a comment. So Matt says it's taken him a solid 4 years to learn what I do know about emotional intelligence, and I'm still learning and growing every day. Okay. What would you say to someone who thinks that feels too daunting? Okay, Matt. So in terms of emotional intelligence, a lot of it, so there's four main parts, right? And the foundation of basically all emotional intelligence is self-awareness, right? And so actually self-appreciation is falls under the area of self-awareness. But in terms of it feeling really big, I think the most important thing that we can do is to understand that it's not like you opt in to emotional intelligence. So I would say consuming even small bits about it on a daily basis, and there's a lot, like, so I'm gonna have to, I don't know, did you have to let me know if you caught my episodes about radical authenticity and emotional intelligence. It was a 4-part series, and I think it would probably help you. I'm pretty sure it's in the Facebook group, which I know you're a member of, because I don't think I did those ones on my public profile. I don't think. But you don't opt into emotional intelligence. It is happening. You are using it or not all of the time. And it is impacting your relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people all of the time. So emotional intelligence is actually something they're teaching kids in public schools now. Like they have a program. It's called social emotional learning, I believe is what it's called. And so they're teaching them that now. And they didn't, I mean, I don't know about you, but they didn't teach it at the schools that I went to. So let's see. Oh, I think you're responding to my description. So for those of you who did not read the description, I mentioned that, for entrepreneurs, we post content, right? And we're like, yeah, I followed all the rules. I got this template, or my coach told me to do whatever, and I'm following the rules, and it got no engagement. It got no engagement. Why not? I'm looking at it. It looks like it's something that should have gotten engagement, but it didn't. And so that's what I was saying, is usually it's that je ne sais quoi that you're missing. And that's actually authenticity. More often than not, it's authenticity that you are missing. And so when you read it, it looks like it should be able to get engagement, but you just don't. Right. So that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, Matt, I would definitely say check out those live streams. It's 4 10-minute live streams. So definitely small, very consumable chunks of information. But emotional intelligence is one of those things that helps with all of our relationships, personal and professional, with our children, with our spouse, with ourselves, with our professional associates, our business besties, so it helps everywhere. So that was the first of 4. So the first of 4, in terms of the most common radical authenticity stoppers, low self-appreciation often pops up in the form of imposter syndrome. Next one, number 2, is low resilience. Oh no. So low resilience. And typically how this manifests is you're like, Ruthie, you told me about XYZ and I tried it for like a week and it's just not working. It's not working. I quit. That's low resilience. You need to have like emotional persistence and an ability to focus on your long-term goals. Nothing I recommend is a quick fix. I am not trying to give you a quick hit of caffeine for the day. I am trying to help you set up and build a brand and an online presence that is going to power your business into the future. Does that sound like a quick fix to you? No. So it's something you really have to stick with. And I'm saying it from the perspective of someone talking to me, but it's like the people who are like, somebody told me that I was supposed to email or I was supposed to DM, 30 people a day. And I took the message that they told me to copy and paste, and I did, and I didn't get any clients from it. I mean, that actually kind of goes back to the low self-appreciation because you have a lack of authenticity, and actually that one ties to the next two. The next two, that example ties to the next two, so that we're gonna have fun with that one. But when you are given something, right, like when you pay somebody and they make these recommendations, and you pay for consulting or coaching or whatever it is, and then you are not able to consistently execute, you have low resilience. You have an inability to focus on your long-term goals. You are focusing on your lag indicators instead of focusing on your lead indicators and the actions that you actually have control over. So the way that we change this is, in terms of, for me, if I see a low resilience in terms of being able to stick with something for one of my clients, we look at it from a couple of different angles. One of the top ones being, where are they out of alignment? It is a lot easier to be resilient and to continue showing up when you are in alignment, right? And so for those of you who wonder what alignment is, that's you being in alignment with your why, your offer, and your audience, as well as like yourself, your radically authentic self, right? So the self, the why, the offer, and the audience, that's how you get in alignment. So let's look at number 3. Low empathy. And you're like, no, Ruthie, I'm a giver. I don't have low empathy. Get out of here. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the digital space specifically. When we look at marketing specifically, when I survey the marketing landscape, I see a chronic amount of low empathy. And what I mean by that is that we as marketers, as entrepreneurs, are executing tactics and techniques that we don't even like. Yet we expect to be able to execute them and get results. We are not empathizing with our audience. We're not empathizing with our audience. So that person who's like, oh, the coach told me to message 30 people with this message and I was supposed to get clients, but I didn't. How do you feel when you receive those messages yourself? Let's see. Shoot, Matt, I don't know which analogy you're talking about, but Matt said, I knew as you were painting that analogy, you were going to catch it. Catch what? What did I catch, Matt? He's going to tell me. But yeah, so low empathy. You don't even like getting those messages. Let me know, like in the comments. You like getting those copy paste messages? Woo, woo. You drop an emoji, whatever. But also let me know if someone has told you to execute those types of tactics. The ones that you don't even like. Right? You don't even like them. You don't like the fake relationships. You don't like the, oh, how are you doing? How's business? How's COVID treating you? And they're like random, never even looked at your profile. You know how I know they never look at my profile? Because then they proceed to pitch me. But if you look at my profile, you see in my bio, there's a warning. Don't pitch me. Right? So yes, so within the marketing and business landscape, I'm seeing a chronic amount of low empathy. And I say that specifically because these same people typically, if you met them at an event, they would seem like nice, normal people. But you meet them in a Facebook group and they're going to pitch the hell out of you. I don't know. Maximilian, hi. Yes, I am feeling some type of way this morning. Okay, and then finally, the fourth one is failing to create and nurture relationships. And this ties with the low empathy piece as well. And I'm looking specifically more at the digital landscape, the marketing, the business landscapes for us as entrepreneurs or marketers, salespeople. And for entrepreneurs, you wear all those hats more likely than not. But failing to create and nurture relationships. You have added me on Facebook. Then you're like, join my Facebook group. And then you're like, and then pay me thousands of dollars because of the fact that I can see you have so many limiting beliefs. And if we could just crack those, get rid of those limiting beliefs, then we will just crack open the potential of your business. And I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? And so what happens is, we make these connections, but then what? You're immediately going to send messages, but not even check out somebody's profile. Oh, so like this person looks really interesting, and you're like, looking from a relationship standpoint again. So I posted something last week that seemed to really resonate with people. And it was, instead of calling it lead generation, what if we called it relationship generation? right? And so when you're out here looking for leads, you're always looking at people with dollar signs, potential dollar signs over their head, right? Whoop, doot, doot. And that's how we're walking around, right? That's like looking like little Mario characters with things on our heads. But when you look at people that way, you typically find exactly what it is that you're looking for while definitely excluding all other possibilities. So I'm not going to say, like, the numbers indicate that when done properly, most of these still very inauthentic lead generation techniques, they do work, but they don't work in the long term in terms of actually creating really solid relationships and a wonderful client or customer experience, right? But when I look at people and I'm thinking, how could I be an opportunity for them? How could we be opportunities to each other? This is when I can look at someone, check out their profile, watch a video or two and see, oh, you know what? They might make a great podcast guest. Or, you know what? One of my business friends is looking for speakers for an event, and this person, they sound like a great fit. But if I'm only looking for leads, then I'm also missing out on those opportunities. I'm failing to create and nurture relationships. And so when you look at relationship building and looking at it long term from an EQ standpoint, emotional intelligence standpoint, your ability to create and nurture relationships, particularly in this online landscape, is absolutely critical. You can get an opportunity from somebody without even getting on an airplane, right? So those are my top 4. Oh, I've got some comments. Let's see. Hey. Oh, Matt brought it up. Matt says that he has felt that people at events can also be a bit superficial, and they can. And I will say at least it's been 2 times that in time of me attending events where I have felt like somebody said to me exactly what they would have copied and pasted in a DM. Right? Like, that's horrible. Like somebody asked me, hey, how are you doing? And they asked me what my business was. And I was like, yeah, I do blah, blah, blah. And then they cut me off like mid sentence. Like, I'm not exaggerating. They were like, and shoved their card. Like, it was like a movie. Shoved their card in my face and was like, I'm a financial blah, 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 blah. And I was like, and I don't care. Like, even if I thought you sounded good to start. And that was the sad thing, is that their company actually sounded like a good fit for what I offered at the time. But I was like, no, not today. But yeah, so sometimes they can get superficial, but it's also very easy to see that. And so you can just really no. But my problem too is that, like, especially in online, like, people who would normally show up in a very authentic way online, they do not. And so they are acting out of alignment with their own values and from a place of low integrity. Matt says pre-COVID, he felt like he was handing out business cards just to end up on other people's email list. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do that, and that's not good. That's not good. That's not good business practice. And I mean, it's not against the law here in the United States, but it's definitely against the law over in the European Union, and there's a good reason for that. What's worse, Matt, is when you end up on their text messaging list. Not today. Don't do that. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. And then Maximilian pointed out, people aren't points of sale. And that is absolutely right. So be sure, just a real quick recap, the 4 most common radical authenticity stoppers. You've got your low self-appreciation, low resilience, low empathy, and a failure to create and nurture relationships. Again, particularly in the online space where we are doing a lot of interacting. Even for people in person, you do like secondary support and relationship building, or at least you can in the social space. So if any of these rang true for you, or you think you might have some other authenticity stoppers, I don't know if you saw it last week when I posted, but I am, in addition to being your excellent radical authenticity brand strategist, or the radically authentic brand strategist, I'm also certified now as an EIQ2 coach. So that means that if you are interested in learning more about what your radical authenticity stoppers are, because awareness is the first step to being able to change anything, send me a DM, drop a comment so we can schedule your assessment. It'll be a 90-minute call after you take the assessment, and we can explore exactly the like strengths and weaknesses in your own emotional intelligence to determine what's getting in the way of your authentic expression in your marketing. And that would be what's preventing you from creating that incredibly attractive brand, the magnetic marketing, and having those no pressure sales conversations. So thank you so much for joining me today. And do remember, check out the podcast for the Lowdown on Clubhouse episode. And on Thursday, Christina Baker's episode is going live about activism in the digital space. So again, thank you so much. And I will talk to you later. Oh, wait. Matt sent me something. Here it is. So Matt says that might fall under the umbrella of one of the four, but for me, I'm always afraid of being authentic in new relationships will cost me something in existing relationships. Ooh. Matt, we're going to have to talk about this one. So you have to let me know. But do you mean that because you've grown as a person and then developed new relationships, existing relationships were like built upon or predicated upon the previous version of you, which you now feel was less authentic? I know it's like a huge, huge, huge question. But yeah, so we're going to have to talk about that one. All right. Yeah, see, Matt says he's grown. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the live. But Matt, I'm gonna be watching the comments there, so we can talk about this one more. But yes, that does happen. And I guess just to kind of close out the live, since other people have seen Matt's question stuff there, just remember that not all relationships are meant to be lifelong relationships. Some people are in your life for a season, right? And when those seasons are over, we need to be able to let go. We can still look back and reflect fondly on those relationships, but sometimes we have to be able to let go. Let's see. And he said, sometimes old relationships don't leave a ton of room for new perspectives. And this is absolutely true. And so then it again calls on you to kind of look at it from that perspective of like your genuine and authentic self. You have to look at it from that perspective. And I won't say it's easy, but you typically have clarity when you root down into your authentic self and your values. When you root down there, anchored there, and then examine what's happening from that perspective, you will gain clarity. I'm not saying it's easy, but you will gain clarity from that and be able to decide if the old relationship is something that you want to hang on to. Do you want to hang on to it in this exact way? Or does the relationship need to change? Do you need a little bit of distance? Does it need to change? Does it need to end? And only you can really make that decision. And some relationships are easier than others, but you have to make that decision. But like I said, you gain clarity when you anchor down into your authentic self and your values and view the situation from there. All right. So that is what I'm going to say about that for now. And thank you everybody so much for being here. I think we got almost up to like 10 viewers at some point. So just thank you so much. And I will